Good morning, it's Chris. Maybe it's not morning for you, but it's morning for me. It is the 27th day of February. It is a Tuesday. I have a halo of light. That's from a light in my office that is shining down on me. I'm trying to get rid of it, but just take it as a sign. Look. Okay. I wanted to talk today about Joe Biden and his age. Now, you say like, oh, come on. We've been over this before, Chris. We have. But I think it's important because I think a majority of Americans have questions about Joe Biden's age. He's 81, oldest person ever elected president, oldest person run for a second term. And I think it's a major issue. I've talked about this before. I think it's going to be a major issue going forward. Maybe it's less of an issue, but I think right now it's a major issue. So Biden was on Late Night with Seth Meyers on Monday night. And Seth Meyers asked him about it. And I actually think there's some news and some smartness here from Joe Biden. Let me read what Biden said. You got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name. It's about how old your ideas are. Look, I mean, this is a guy who wants to take us back. He wants to take us back on Roe v. Wade. He wants to take us back on a whole range of issues that are 50, 60 years. They've been solid American positions. Yes, that's a really smart answer. I'm pointing at my computer monitor. Joe Biden is not right here. This is my computer monitor. I think that's a really, really smart way for Joe Biden to begin to argue against the idea that he's too old. So there's two things in there. One, Donald Trump is old too, right? Trump is 77 years old. Trump says and forgets things and, makes mistakes in the same way that Biden does. What I would say, generally speaking, is when you talk a lot for a living in the public, there's going to be moments where you forget stuff, or you mix two things up, or you forget the president of Mexico, or whatever. I don't know how much that's age-related, but they are old. So that's point one. Point two, I really like this line from Biden. I want to quote it again. It's about how old your ideas are. Look, I mean, this is a guy who wants to take us back. So I think that's a really smart way for Joe Biden to talk about age, right? Like, he may be 81 years old, but he has moved the needle on things in ways that Donald Trump wants to go back, right? Donald Trump wants to put the car in reverse and go backward to a different time when Biden would argue, and I think a lot of Americans would argue, things were less equal, things were less free, people had less rights. So I think that's a really smart way to do it. Now, it's not the only thing that Joe Biden needs to do, candidly, to address the age issue. I've said before, and I'll say again, I think he's got to give a big speech on his age. I think he's got to talk about it. Look, I'm old. But, I think this could be the top of that speech. I'm old, but my ideas aren't old, and my opponent is old, and his ideas are old. Just to frame it, right? Just to address it. And then I think he has to take a risk. And that risk is he's got to go out on the campaign trail. He's got to actively ask for votes. He has got to show people that, yes, I am old, but I still have energy. I can still do this, right? Now, his detractors will say the reason he hasn't done that yet is not because the White House is waiting. It's because the White House knows he can't do it, that he is not able to go out and campaign full time. Now, you will remember in 2020 when he ran, it was during COVID, right? So after about March 2020, neither of the candidates really campaigned in any meaningful way. I think Joe Biden has to take the risk of going out and actively campaigning throughout the country in the summer and fall of this year. Now, I say it's a risk because he could fall, right? He could stumble. He could physically or verbally. And those things will be covered hugely. If Joe Biden falls over or falls ill on the campaign trail, it's a big deal, right? It's a risk. That's why they haven't done it yet. But I think they have to do it. So this rhetoric, right? I'm old, but so is my opponent, and my ideas are new and my opponent's ideas are old, is pretty good, I think. I think it's a smart way for Joe Biden to address the age issue. It's a start. It's not a finish, but it's a start. And I think the fact that he's got an answer now, finally, after all these months and years, should encourage Democrats somewhat. Now, it has to go hand in hand with a willingness to put him out on the campaign trail. But again, it's a beginning. Take care. Remember, live stream on Friday. Every Friday, we're going to do it. Subscribe. There's that thumb again. Subscribe. Make sure you like this video and spread the word. That's all I ask. And show up to the live stream if you can. I love having a live audience. It's fun. So we're doing that Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, take care. See you tomorrow.